React, also known as React.js, is a free and open source front-end library for building user interfaces based on UI components. It is maintained by Meta, formerly Facebook. I just thought that making a funny intro will get more attention, so don't leave yet. This video is actually about React. So what is React? To put it simply, React is a library which exists to solve a specific problem with web development. You see, since web applications were a thing, developers have to deal with large amounts of JS, CSS, and HTML files in their project, which can create a big mess and become counterproductive. On top of all this, developing without a technology like React can become very repetitive, and since HTML doesn't have any feature to solve that problem, let's say you create a footer in a web page and you need to put this footer in across other web pages. Well, you will have to copy this footer and paste it in every other web page. This is really stupid and, as I said, repetitive, and plus if you need to make a change on one of the footers, you will have to replicate this change in every other footer. Well, React brings something new called components, which solve this exact problem. Components are basically reusable functions that will return something called JSX. To put it simply, JSX is just a mix of HTML and JavaScript, and these components can change the way the JSX is returned by changing variables and using what's called properties, which are basically arguments that you pass through these components, just like a regular function. You can then pass these components just like HTML tags in order to render them to the screen. Now, there are other libraries like Vue.js and Angular.
I am not a lizard.
So why would you use React specifically? Well, let's start off by saying don't use Angular, but otherwise that's a good question. There are many other frameworks like React that just do the same thing. So I'm gonna try to answer that question with my own opinion, which will be very subjective. Well, as I said, it's a very personal question because everyone will have their own opinion about it depending on which framework they began on. Which I would say React because I began on React, so I think it's the best for beginners. Though after trying other frameworks, I still think React is the best way to introduce someone to components. Now, the goal of this video really wasn't to convince you to use React. It's not a video about should you use React or another framework, because if it was, it would be a really shitty video, to be honest. Otherwise, this video is just to introduce my new series about React. So if you're actually interested in learning React, well, subscribe and like because I will upload new videos about it in my new series.